Is it back up?
Yep.
Okay.
Live.
That's really, really annoying. I wonder what's that. Why is it? Because, I mean, I'm looking, the connection's fine. I mean, last week it was the connection, but I mean, it didn't seem we were dropping frames or anything, and then all of a sudden, it's gone. Well, it doesn't appear that we dumped a bunch of viewers, though. That's good. Thanks for sticking in there, guys. Thank you. Yeah, we're not quite sure exactly what's going on. Well, thank you. But I'm not your flounder inspiration. But you can see how hard I'm working on this for you. It's getting better. And I'm just using SK trim polish here. And I'm just trying to homogenize the surface into sort of a nice round, you know, sort of transitional surface. And the nice thing about SK trim polish is that as you're doing it, it works really nice in alt as well. So see how, here, let's put a little dent in here. Here's a dent. When you're doing SK trim polish, if you hold down alt, it fills in nicely too. So it's a good tool to homogenize surfaces. Right? See, this is why I say right during all my videos, because I'm always trying to get live, I'm trying to get an informed affirmation, where when I'm just recording my own videos, there's no one there to say, yeah, we get it. So
I get it.
I edit a lot of rights out of my my videos for the class. I'm always like, da 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 da, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have I ever used HTG? You know what's funny is that years and years ago, it didn't really work with the manufacturing side of everything. Like, it worked really good with the, like if you're doing games and stuff, but it was hard to get the geometry to work to get out. And I've been told that's not true anymore. But honestly, I've always had a computer that'll deal with high res, so I can have 100 millions poly subtools. Um, so I don't usually run into the problem of not being able to do what I want to do, only because I learned long ago that just cough out the money for the computer. And like, for a while, I think I was probably the only person who had like a $20,000 computer in the jewelry industry, because everyone's just like, how do you do that? How does it work? And it's just like, well, you just do this. Now, it was a problem when I first started teaching, because I was showing people how to do stuff, and all of my students were like, that doesn't work. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, it just crashes. I'm like, no, it's fine. I kept demoing it, and all my students were like, Tomas, it doesn't work. None of us could do it. And yeah, that was because, uh, yeah, that wasn't going to work on a normal machine. And at least luckily with the AMD chips, you don't have to do $20,000 chipsets dual core. It likes ZBrush likes the AMD chips better than the dual Intels. It likes, all right, Henry, help me explain this. It likes a single core chip better than it will multi-thread, but it's not multi-threading well. I don't know. How would you say that, Henry? I know I sound like an idiot when I'm talking about this.
I'm gonna say that was close enough.
All right, close enough. Now you know. Inquiring minds want to know. Now you know.
The real problem is you wanted. It's not multi-core; it's multi-processor that it isn't accounting for very well.
I always say that, don't I?
And the larger problem is you want multi-processors that have an extremely high core count, but an extremely slow hertz. And that is the opposite of what is useful in ZBrush.
Yeah.
Rather have one very fast core than many very slow cores.
Yes. That's what ZBrush likes. So, that's what we got. Well, one day it'll run again. I have faith. Nope.
How long does it take to learn anatomy?
Forever. Really learn, well, it depends on how good your memory is. You know, because to really learn anatomy, you need to learn its names, you know. Like I have, but I mean, I've been doing anatomy for probably 35 years, so I have a core, you know, knowledge of anatomy, but like I used to know all the bones and all the tendons, and if you can remember that, like Ryan Kingsley, he's really good with anatomy, but he remembers everything. Like he remembers, because if you know your insertions and origins and you actually remember their names and you remember where they go and what they do, you know, you have a lot more freedom because you actually truly understand what's happening. Steve Lord's another one who, Steve remembers everything. And actually his classes are very interesting because Steve, like I took a dog anatomy class with him, and halfway through it he's like, yeah, but you know, once you know like animal anatomy, then you can make anything. And he just turned the dog into a dragon like in a minute, because you know, there's fundamental, if you understand fundamentally how anatomy works, then you can make even weird fantasy stuff look good, because I mean, we look at anatomy every day, and when you're wrong, that's the one thing, if you're going to do anatomy, you damn well better be right, because everybody, their subconscious is going to recognize that something's wrong, because, you know, we look at people and animals every day. So if you're going to do it, it's good to actually learn it. And actually that visible body is a really good one too, because it's actually designed for education now. And so they have like quizzes and stuff, and if you want to learn, I think that's a really good way of doing it, is through that anatomy with visible body, because they, like I said, they're really designed for med schools and stuff now, and they have like built-in quizzing, and so like you can break it up by your muscle system, your nervous system, your bone system, and it'll quiz you, and it's cool. I don't have that on this machine, do I?
No. And
Yeah.
a book recommendation? Did you mention that already?
Oh, but for sculpting, the Anatomy for Sculptors books are really, really good because they take they're taking pictures of actual bodies and then drawing over them and showing you the muscle groups and stuff. And I think for sculpting, it's one of the better ones to get in. I know that we got oh, it's right there. I called them and I got a discount for us. I told them, you know, I stream, and is there any way I can get a discount for the people watching? And they actually gave us a discount for everyone, which is, I mean, honestly, that's very cool of them. And no, I'm not shilling for them. I don't get a cut. I don't get anything from it. I just want it to help you guys get your little anatomy book for free. Cheap, not free. And they gave us a pretty good discount. Which I think was very kind of them, because they didn't have to. Interesting. I missed that completely, didn't I? Right, that goes there. See, I made my high point in the wrong place because I was paying no attention. Lower res, lower res. We're just going to relax this mesh. Relax that mesh. How do you get a font profile? What are you talking about?
People reference, like faces and such.
Well, that's those. The Anatomy for Sculptors has a number of books. One of them is only faces and heads, and the other one's like facial expressions. And what's cool about it is that it's not just referencing, but it also shows you what the muscle groups are doing. So you can then, when you sculpt it, like I said, you sort of understand it. I don't have those on this machine either, do I?
Probably not.
I think I just have the base one here. Anatomy for Sculptor. Yeah, I only have, come on. Come on, you can do it. Oh, it's on one of the external drives. We have very slow external drives. They're like, But what's cool, like, I'll often say that I like Bridgman for reference. Like when I was a kid, no, I don't care if you're an Office application. So when I was a kid, there was Bridgman. And so for sculpting, I thought Bridgman was a really, really good reference because he comes in and he breaks things down into planes really well. Like you can see how he's showing you the joint, but he's breaking it up in, like here again, like in these flat planes. So it teaches you how to look at the anatomy so you're not overblown by the anatomy, but you can then start to see what you know, what's happening. The other thing that Bridgman was really good about is showing dynamic positioning and like viewing the torque. See, here's another very good breakdown where you're looking at it in flat planes, and this really helps you understand three-dimensionally what's happening, you know, in like, you know, showing your crossovers, and you know, but it's very dramatic, it's very overblown, it's very heroic proportions. But see, like this picture right here, these three squares or these three rectangles, and right here, so you have a flat plane, a rectangle, and when I was a kid, this was really super helpful information, and I think it's still very super helpful information, you know, trying to see how these muscle groups work together as geometric forms, not necessarily just muscles, because I think a lot of people get intimidated by anatomy, right? And so that's why I like the anatomy for sculptors, is because Bridgman was very dramatic, very heroic proportions, you know, very, you know, it's not, you know, it's not your average person. And what I think is cool about these is they do the same thing, but what they did is they based it on, they went back and they draw all your muscle groups, and you can see how armpits work, let's say. Here's a very good example. But see over here how they're talking about how this bulges, and how, like here, the eyeball, like, you know, it's cylinders and squares. So it does the same thing. But what's really cool about it is that they draw it over photographs. And so when you start to get into, here, this is a good example, I think. No, hold on. They talk about silhouettes and contrapposto. Yeah, see, your contrapposto positioning. Just everything needs to be lazy S's for it to look good. This is a very important thing right here, and understanding like your rib cage is a box, your hip is a box, and your head's a box, and how they twist and turn. If you can really wrap your head around just that those three things are interacting boxes, it really gives you a very, very good jump on anatomy. So this thing right here, just this extension, what's really nice, you can see the body, muscle and the fat, the breakdown of the muscles into geometric forms, base geometric forms. And so understanding these photographs right here and this stuff right here, this is your rib cage, this is your hips. Start there. If you get those two right, 80% of your anatomy is going to look good. Most people just blow it on these, right? They just blow the boxes. Learning actually what posture is, you know, there is a curve in the back, it's not straight. Right here, see, that is not straight, that doesn't happen. And also when they start slicing this is all very, very, very good information that a lot of people don't understand. So there's your basic crochet, showing you a standing position in the muscles. But see, this is what's cool, is that they did it over this photograph. So unlike Bridgman, where you have someone, stop it, where you have someone who's doing things that are, right, these are not people, you know what I mean? So you draw that and you're like, oh, well, wait a minute, blah, 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 blah. Well, here, it's actually, you can see that it's actually drawn on an actual body. So when, like here, you can see what it actually looks like in the skin, and then what's happening with the muscle stuff. So this is just a really super useful, like here again, just this, what do the abdominal muscles look like? They are not squares. They are sloped angles, right? And it goes through and it shows you you know, how your muscles are, how they lay over. And, you know, this right here, you know, this is the picture I should show everybody when we keep talking about armpits, because there's nothing here. It's floating. The bicep goes up and connects to the top of the scapula, so all of this goes up and under the pec. And this is a really, really, really good reference on how this stuff layers together. And once again, it's all actually based on an actual photo. So you're not guessing when they start doing this and what's going on inside. You're actually seeing what it looks like. You know, that secondary bump is going over the pectoral minoris, right? So why is that happening? It's because this muscle is flexing as well, and that punches out over the major pec, or the pectoral major, talking about the clavicles and what's happening with it. And so this is just a fantastic source of like what happens to the breast. You know, if you're sitting there, breasts have weight. They're not just these silicone bags that sit on the front of people. You know, and it goes through your major muscle groups, and it's showing you, see, this stuff right here I think is invaluable, because you can see the drawing of the muscle, the directionality of the muscle in the grain, and then you can see that this is actually basically bone connection, right? So why is this stuff happening in motion? And the fact that they're doing it over photos, so you have a real understanding of what are these ribs? No, those are not ribs, by the way. And right, see, like, here's another really good image. There is no muscle, there's no fat there, nothing's under the rib, under the armpit, right? It's just all floating air. So, and then they go through at the, when you get down here, these are actual body scans of people, and so they just have a bunch of posed figures. They have heavy people, they have skinny people, and it's just a really good, I find it to be a really good reference. Here again, photo, muscle breakdown, block up. So you can start to understand what's happening with these muscle groups. So I'm a big fan of these books. And they have one on facial expressions, and then they have one on the neck and head. So they're just, I don't know, I like them. I think they're really useful. And once again, not shilling for them, I just find them to be useful. Now, if they only had one on flounders. Okay, so let's turn our floor black on. Let us take this. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna mask this off. Boop. Nope. Yeah, and the digital copies are cheap, and the actual physical books, they're actually very nice. I mean, they're well made. The hardcovers, you know, they're not just cheesy, crappy books. They did a good job of them. And then here, I'll show you visible body too, because once again, I think it's a super reference. Visible body. Products. So the web suite is like $25 a year. Isn't that what it says? Yeah, $24.99 a year. And I wish they had the pages we could click on. But all of these are, this is a 3D model. It was actually sculpted in ZBrush. I remember when he was doing these, they posted them on the site. So, right, so see, it's a 3D model that you can rotate around. If you click on it, it actually lights up, and it tells you, like, if, see how this blue is highlighted? Someone clicked on that. And so if you really want to know what this muscle is, you click on it and it tells you what it is. And then they also have these like, yeah, so you can scan through. So pause. Oh, it's not running. But like that first one was one of the little quizzes, so you can do quizzes. So I think if you're really trying to learn anatomy, this is one of the, I would say one of the best and easiest ways to do it, because this is actually designed, now they've really tuned it for medical schools. So it's real. I mean, it's no joke. And if you have headsets, they have augmented reality sets, so you can actually look at it, like in it. It's, the augmented reality is pretty cool. And I think they have a VR lab as well. But I can't believe they don't have. But the phone app's cool because you literally can get the explosions and stuff and go in. If you click on any of these nerves, it tells you what the name is. It shows you what its insertions and origins are. But I bought this when they first came out with it, because we saw it on the forums at the time. But like they have ones that, you know, go through and talk about skin, the hair, the vein. They go through all the DNA, RNA. They actually have yeah, see, lessons plans, the labs. You can actually create your own flashcard sets if you're trying to learn something specific. They're awesome. This is a good, here, hold on. Let me see if this will, so this is them scrolling around. You can see that they click on these and, oh, they're showing you how to make a thing, but you click on them and a little window comes up and you can make things disappear. So if you want to see what's underneath something, you click on it and it'll disappear. So it's so annoying. They actually show you which muscles make actions happen and stuff. So I'm a big fan of this one too. Yes, good work. All right, there we go. That was our anatomy lesson for the night. Where's clay tubes? There we go. And yes, I really do everything in clay tubes for the most part. All right. And now there's that other line up here. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. It looks like it's going in, doesn't it? And the fish scales just look like kind of little bumps. We're not getting real scales going on here. Alright, so now whenever I'm doing edges like this, you will notice that I do not use any of the what I call cutting tools. So I use orb cracks. You can see it cuts a line in. I use SK curve, cuts a line in. Slash, cuts a line in. And if you use these to do these details and stuff in, what you're doing is you're separating your surfaces and you lose surface continuity. Where SK trim or SK twist, so see here if I'm cutting this in, it cut it in, but see how it's separating these two surfaces? Where if I use SK twist, I come in and I do that, And now this surface is sitting in front of that surface. It's not just this random line coming in. I'm establishing a surface order. And so I'm going to come in and do this with this one. And you can see that now that's going behind that. That's going behind that. And I think that is going behind that. Now, the second part of the stroke is almost always SK fill, SK fill, SK clay fill. I'll come in and fill in on this side, fill in on this side. You can see that it just leaves me the half round edge. I hold down Alt, come back in here, and that knocks down that little scoop. And now I have things that are level. So right now I'm going back to the model and determining everything in its own layer. Well, what's nice about the mod Dirty Blue is that when I see the strokes here, I know that they will come out in my model. Where if you're using a more dramatic, if you're using a more dramatic capture that has its own light, so if you're using basic metal or any of these, those are actually environmental lighting, but these have baked in lighting effects. So you can see, you can't see any of your surfaces that's way too high. You know, you come over here, well, now that's way too high. Where's the tangerine that shows all the lines? This one, now you can see that I can see more of my stroking in it. Here I can see absolutely no of my strokes, none of my stroke. I can see no of my strokes. Right, so the material is really important because you're sculpting to what you think you can see. What I found out is Mod Dirty Blue works incredibly well, and it's a softer on my eye. I know a lot of people use the gray, the basic material, and actually it shows pretty well as well. There's a darker one, basic material. That one's too shiny. Where's skin shader? Is that it? No. I thought there's a gray. Maybe this is the one that a lot of people use. But it's a little too reflective for me. It's shiny. I just find that this is easy on the eyes after, 14 hours a day. There's Sakaki Kauru's brushes. Henry will post a link. He's very kind. His brushes are fantastic. And he's fantastic. He's an incredible modeler. He's like one of my favorite people in the ZBrush community. I love Sakaki. Alright, so now we got that. We're defining our levels at the moment. We're just deciding what's in front, what's in back. Let's get in here and get a little detail in the eyes. Alright, so they're almost like frog eyes. Yeah, of course. Oops. What just happened there? Yeah. Okay. Now, since this is sort of almost like a protruding bone, we are going to I'm just dragging this back behind my front lines. There we go. And I'm going to go cloth. This is another Sakake's brushes. And you can see that I want this to be like a protruding bony structure. It definitely looks like a push you to be where you're supposed to be. Okay, there's sort of a head bump line right there, so that's the outer edge of our skull. So let's turn that back off and look at what we got going on. All right. And at some point, I'm not going to get too detailed in all of this because we will go back to the illustration and actually match the flounder to his image. I just like to start, like whenever I'm doing something like that, you never know when you need a flounder again. So I tend to try to make one that's fairly kind of realistic. And then that way, even if I were making one that, let's say, was supposed to be very cartoony, I would start out with something realistic like this. So whenever I'm doing stuff like this, I'm building my base library of models for other things. So taking a little bit of extra time and making sure things look like, you know, so they look good, because I don't have a flounder model. Okay, so okay. And so now I have almost all my layers sort of sorted out. I'm now going to come in and I'm just going to start to get I'm just putting some definitions in of form and some basic like lumps. Right, this fish seems to have like some of these like little humpy things, so I'm coming in here and just trying to get some of that definition in there. And you can see I'm trying to get my strokes sort of tied to my surface directionality. You didn't realize we were going to have such an important stream tonight. How many people have been wanting how to sculpt a flounder? I'm pretty sure this is a much denied and maligned desire of every sculptor out there.
This is the day I've been waiting for.
Right? Forget
I was
hands.
just too embarrassed to ask.
Right? Forget hands. This is all about flounders. Have you ever read The Flounder by Günter Grass?
No.
It's a great book. It's hysterical. So there's this matriarchal world, and the guys are out fishing, doing all the work, you know, and they catch the flounder, and the flounder's like, oh, you know, if you let me go, I'll tell you how to, you know, kind of take over where the women aren't in power anymore and you're in power. And they're like, okay. And he tells them. And then, so the women are all out doing their thing, and one of them catches the flounder, and the flounder's like, hey, you know, if you let me go, you know, I'll tell you how you can take power away and the men won't have power. And it's a really savvy, insightful view of, you know, sexual politics and sociology. It's and Günter Grass is awesome. Have you ever seen The Tin Drum?
Nope.
Ugh, you're killing me. Killing me, Smalls. Have you seen Blade Runner?
I hate Blade Runner.
How can you hate Blade Runner? It was made in It was made in 1983. What do you mean it's a bad movie?
It looks very cool, and the plot is just the worst thing in the world. Just abysmal. And the book was worse, but it's a very cool looking movie.
It defined futurism for the next 2 decades. Well, it's still going on.
I'm glad other people like it, but I thought the plot was just not for me.
You know, we're not talking about the new one, right? No. Just kidding. That was a joke.
Yeah, hell agrees with me.
What's
Looks
that?
cool, boring story. Yeah, hell agrees with me.
Oh, right on. I'm not necessarily arguing with you, but
That's a fish.
yeah, tonight's flounder night.
I guess so.
It's been years, and I still have never made the flounder for this. So here, look. This is actually what the model is. It's
Oh. Jesus Christ.
it's a knight
That's great.
that's made on ship, and he's standing on a flounder. But I've never made the flounder, and I've had this model for years. That I've just never finished it, you know.
Yeah.
And because it keeps getting lost, it keeps getting. But I was like, hey, you know what?
Alright, is it still live stream? People still watching?
Oh yeah, we're still live. Still live. We're live until midnight usually. So now we're going in and we're going to. So I've broken up my layers. I've gotten the shapes right. The things that are in front of things are in front of things, and the things that are behind things are behind things. So now I'm going to go in. We start adding a little bit more detail. Oh, thanks, Raph. I see how you are. It's always nice to have such a supportive community. Sadly, you're not wrong. And I'm just coming in and giving ourselves some flounder fins. Yeah, no, it's been warm here in LA. The weird thing is it's been muggy. I mean, it's not Florida muggy, but it's muggy.
With bolts.
Interesting. I definitely wouldn't have expected that.
No, it's weird.
No. This has been hot here, in the hundreds.
See, it hasn't been that hot. I think we've been in the 90s, but it's oddly humid. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been like muggy, ugly, ugh. I'm not used to like if you're standing in the sun here, usually you're like, okay, it's hot. But if you're not standing in the sun, it's usually not brutal. But it has been anything but pleasant. Mm. Yeah, I couldn't tell you what the humidity is other than ugh. Or enough. Alright. And so now you can see that we're just, yeah, look at that. That was bad stroking on my part. So here's another, oh, I lost my tool palette somehow. So here's another cool thing. We're gonna come back here before our strokes. No, this is easy. When you're directly going off photo references, this can happen a lot. And if I would have thought about it, I would have done this. All right, fine, I'll look. Where's dark sky? Dark sky. Where is... I forget how to turn on Time Machine. Where's Time Machine? Yeah, so it was 84. Where's my humidity? Yeah, it was 73%. That's pretty brutal for here. So now, oh, I went too far back. I want my... Normally when you do something where you know you're going to potentially mess up your style lines, here, I overestimated how many stroke lines I did. Come on. Yeah, sometimes it takes a while to do it. So okay, so this is pretty good. So I have my two clean lines. I'm going to hold down Control, make this my history, and then come back out to where we were. Yeah, today was 83 and 72% humidity. That's crazy. Crazy talk. I'm still thinking. There we go. So we now established the place before these lines. So now I can come back in, grab history brush, and just come along and go right back to my line. Isn't that lovely? History is so awesome. I don't know how I lived without history because I use it for friggin' everything. Ask Henry. I use history a lot.
Yep.
Resounding. Yep. He's not lying.
He didn't used to.
What
That's
wasn't
like
there?
2021. When was it added?
It might have been. No, it's. See, COVID messes me up. I never know.
History states existed before I started using ZBrush. Because one of the first things I saw you do was using the history state to change ring sizes thing.
Right.
But back then you weren't keen on using it for much else. You were still doing a lot of projection. Like normal projection.
Yeah, that's true. Well, here. Let's find out. I'm curious, because I'd be shocked that I didn't use it when it was there. When was history added to ZBrush? You think we'll get an answer?
Nope.
Undo history. That's project history. Okay, project history. So this is a new feature in 2020, project history. So
Okay.
I would say
So that's when it became useful.
Yeah, that's when it became useful.
Yeah.
Because like the timeline. Okay, we got you. And now let's get to you. Turn it down. I like those little beads on there. Ability to stop. We're just gonna come here. We're gonna go here. And just erase that right back. Just love that. It's so nice. Okay. And so now we got that and that. Eventually we're going to have to come back in and put cracks in those, but that's okay for now. Let's make some fish skin. How's that sound? You ready to make some fish skin? Fish skin. Because they aren't reading as scales, so I'm not going to go in and put scales in there. What we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to divide it. No, I'd never ban you. I just won't tell you when Wittelsbach Miniatures comes out. Let's see. Let's do clay. maybe we can do, oh, I know. Let's forget about this. You ready for this? We'll go use a new feature.
Ooh.
I know, right? Now I want that. I'm gonna do. Nope. You can do it. Nope. It's real careful. If you even tap it, it views it as a stroke. Here, let's do it this way. Turn on lazy Nezumi. So, in the latest update of lazy Nezumi, did you see this? It's actually pretty cool. You know how there's some programs that it won't lock the screen onto because it sort of floats on top of it? Well, now they have,
Yeah.
thank you, sir. They have this, and see, attached to window, and it gives you this little thing, and you can drag it in. You can drag it into any window and it'll lock to it. Isn't that cool? That's
Oh, wow, yeah.
That's a nice solution to that. Learn something new every day, don't we? And now we're gonna. Where's clay? Oh, I have the wrong brush on. I want this brush on. Yeah. All right. Damn it. Okay, let's start this again. I'm gonna go, and then I'm gonna go, and then I'm gonna interpolate. Hey Juan, how's it going? Did you see that little white flash? Uh-oh. Hey, there we go. Okay, so that was too many, wasn't it? All right. Let's do. Come on. Why aren't you moving? I'm wondering. Actually, what we need to do is this. I need to do why is this acting weird? Look, oh, because I have, so we're going to come back here. We're going to come right here. We're going to turn floor off. And I am going to make Rosa box. Here, let's actually do that with, I actually want these to be real straight. So first thing I'm going to do, go to Extractor. I'm going to come right here, hold down G. Let's turn this on. It is on, is it not? Yep, it's on. Hold down G. Hold down G. Oh, we're saving. All right, everybody gets away. We're saving. Have we been disconnecting every 5 seconds, or is it just y'all? Hey, Jeff.
It's you.
Am I disconnected?
No, I definitely wouldn't say it's every 5 seconds, but it's more frequent than is reasonable.
Am I offline?
You're live right now.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm watching you eat.
It's very important. You know what else I'm going to do right now, since all we're doing is waiting? I'm going to get water. Davasa. Oh. I think that's very good. It's very good, thank you. Of course Juan remembers people's birthday. Happy birthday, Jeff. And Juan's the one who remembers. Juan's like just that genuinely good guy in every group where you're just like, he remembers people's birthdays. He knows when your mom's sick. He's impressive that way.
And everybody hates him for it.
Well, I think it's because actually he's just a stalker. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Okay, let's try this again. All right. Are we ready?
I'm not sure.
Stroke 1. Stroke 2. Let's go to 25. Triple. I know you feel it cut. I think that might be too much. All right, so let's think about this. Make my brush bigger. Get that. Go. Right? I think. Right, so we turn that off. We then take this and we make it big. Oops. We come in here. Let's go to standard. We go alpha and we grab, oh no, I don't want standard, I want see, this is what I really love to do with Pablo's brushes, is steal all those settings. So this one works really well. Come in here, take this alpha, and I am going to grab dot. Okay, so I need to make it bigger. Oh, here's a really easy way to do this. Zoom out so you can see. And let's fill our space. All right. Grab dot. Why are we still getting that weird line? That line should not be there. know what we should do. Come here. Let us... Okay. I'm going to waste way too much time doing this, aren't I? Yes. Alright, I thought I was going to be clever and cool and show you all something fun. Nope. Forget it. Nothing fun here. Nothing to see here. Nothing. Jeff, are you now a blender head? Is that what I'm seeing? I'm trying to find a way to... What's that?
You can read the end of the sentence.
Okay. I think I was just trying to be too darn clever for my own good. I try too hard sometimes. I try too hard to impress you guys.
You know what you want to do is sculpt each scale individually one by one.
I do. And I know that
no one... That's what you want to do.
And I know no one wants to watch me do that. Nah. Let's see if this works any better. Stop it. That is so weird. Oh, I don't know what's going on. Hold on. Slice. Where's slice? Slice. Give me a slice. I don't want a knife. I want a slice. There's too much going on in there. I have too many brushes. For all of you out there, you don't need that many brushes. Only ding-dongs have that many brushes. How come I'm not seeing... Oh, there it is. I'm like, why do I just not see slice? Oh. Delete lower. Boop. Group split. And so now we need to go like this. And the other thing we need to do is make sure that line and this line match. Right? You see where we're going with this? You have to make a repeating tile. I think that might be our problem. Okay, so now let's take... No, I use VDMs. It's just VDMs are harder to get to work with. Extractor is just a really good way of drawing it. I really should just extractor it. But extractor is just a really good way of throwing down a quick pattern. Because I'm not using extractor. I'm using one of Pablo's brushes, which is... cool. But oh. Okay. Now I'm just being silly. All right. Watch this. Delete all. See, I was trying to be all clever, and it didn't work. I know. I know. I was going to show you all something cool, but you keep laughing at me, so I'm not going to show you anything. Yeah, exactly. No, I know. It's why I had. That's why I just gave up. I'm like, I'm not even going to try this one. I wonder if I can do this real quick. Standard. Wow, what happened to our groups? That's weird. All right, Control W. No, 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 no. That's not what I'm trying to do. Okay, I'm going to take my standard brush. I'm going to make it really low. I'm going to make my focal shift harder. And I'm going to make my lazy step bigger. Too big. I want a little bit closer. It's like right, stop. Here we go. It's gonna feel right. Aren't you proud of me? I didn't do each one by hand.
Ah,
What?
so proud.
Look at that. And now, SK trim polish. Turn it down. just going to knock the top edges off those. Look at that. Awesome sauce. I know, it might happen. No, no, this is just a stand. I'm not going to do that.
Tell me which of those two is more likely. Are you feeling seen right now?
He knows me. He knows me. I don't think there's even a question on what's... I mean, that's obviously right. All right, so I want... Let's look at our... Okay, so let's look at this. Let's look at thick skin. Is that doing anything? Fish texture. No, this is the first time I've done the fish. In fact, I've been putting the fish off for years, literally. Not that I really had anything against the fish, it's just, I was trying to get the night done. It still needs work, but kind of looking fishy. Okay. Now this is a very staid and static flounder as of right now. Oh, Thing about thick skin is when you turn it on, you gotta remember to turn it off. He's a little bit more face forward. And his tail's curved up. He has very distinctive V fins. Alright, we can get him to look like that. But I think we got a good start. What are we saying? Save it? Okay. Quick save. What do you mean gotta see? Have you not seen the picture yet? It's Jeremy Bastian. He does a book called Cursed Pirate Girl. Or at least that's what this is from. I think it's 71 out of 100. Oh no, it doesn't matter. Oh, I see. You thought it said it was a C. I get it. All right. I love him though. Isn't he great? Don't you like my backing board? It's just a piece of cardboard. What's so funny is this is a very old, very expensive frame that I literally just put a piece of cardboard in for my framing. The woman who did all my framing, if she saw this, she would beat me up. Yeah, no, that's just a piece of cardboard. Obviously, one that like it's corrugated. This is my very, very fancy matting. Corrugated cardboard. And I mean just like cut off like a box. Oh. I have some stunning, stunning frames that my friend, she worked at one of the, seriously, one of the nicest framing places in the world. Like, they literally reframe Rembrandts and things like that. They send them to this guy who she learned the gilding from. And so when they chopped off parts of old frames to reframe them, she would save them and make weird little frames for me. So some of these frames are like 300-year-old frames that like have that, you know, she just got parts for, and I put cardboard matting in it. Yes, it's yeah, no, she would literally punch me in the eye if she saw this. So Sarah, not allowed to watch the stream. We're just putting that out there. Sarah's not allowed to watch the stream because she will beat me up. uh, she had this really beautiful antique gold one that she made, and it was actually at the same show. I got it's just this goofy pirate ship sketch. The poster was like $1, and we put it in a frame that was like, seriously, it's like a $13,000 frame. I have a dollar print in it. I think that now has a different print in it. Uh-oh. What's the cursed question? Have I learned how to sculpt hands yet? Okay, just so you know, here, look, I sculpted these hands. Do you have a problem with that hand, Henry?
What hand?
That one right there?
I see a seashell and a flagpole, and they're both really good.
How about that hand? That hand okay for you? You're like, it doesn't have any fingers.
Oh, the stream is broken.
Oh no.
Yeah, the stream is broken.
Is the stream actually frozen, or are you just messing with me? You're killing me. Okay. Our stick doesn't look very much like a stick. Let's go to our stick. Did a flounder, now I'm going to work on the stick. I'm doing all the unglamorous stuff right now. Because I'm doing this in front of a lot of people, we might as well do the crap that I don't want to do. Mike Thompson's putting out like these beautiful Thundercats. I'm like, we're going to work on a stick today. Did you see his Lioness? Mike Thompson is like my hero. He is so cool. He is so talented. He did the Gatchaman stuff, or G-Force. He's amazing, and just an awesomely nice guy. Yeah, not much I could do about that one. I am at the mercy of that. One day they might get resolved. Does that work with your kids? That's the answer. Come on, you have never seen anyone do such awesome bark this quick. I know you're jealous. Yeah, you being evil, that's a completely different story. I wonder if the summit is going to be physical this year. Has anyone heard anything about that yet? I guess I should ask. Because they, in one of their, was it one of the presentations or was it one of the things on the, you know, when ZBrush opens? Someone talked about the summit recently. That it was going to be, it's going to be in September again, right? They're moving it back to September? Or am I just completely just making stuff up? No response, nothing. Maybe I'm just making stuff up.
I definitely haven't heard anything about it.
Okay. I have to ask. Maybe I'm just... Oh well. My earphone might... That's why we... Look at that. Connect. Connect. You can do it. Alright, say something.
Something.
Alright, it works. It's so funny, every time I bring the head thing close to the phone, it starts chirping. I guess it wants to be updated or something. Did you see the news? First reported stalking incident with iPods. It's like, or AirPad, or what are those things called that I have like a billion of? DC. What are those called? AirTags.
AirTag, yeah.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, first reported incident, you know, oh, we should change it. I'm like, well, how about, are we going to ban sidewalks because the guy who walked and followed you home is going to be, you know, it's like it actually keeps track of stuff. Come on. It's the only one that works. And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, you can't have it. Who's not in chat? Oh. Every time I see something out of the corner of my eye that says you're not, I'm assuming it's me. Doesn't matter what it is. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. Okay. Stop that. Okay. Oh. We want that. We want this to be small. We want that to be small. Thick skin's good for bark. Oh, you're gonna talk like that and then bail on us? I see how you are. Hey, how's it going? Hey, Riz, what's your question? No, the moon landings were not faked. Oh, um, that's a good question, actually. I don't know. Let's think about it. Well, what's sad is a lot of the things that I do now you couldn't do then. So, um, I can't talk about William Henry. Let's see. Like, don't take that job. No, I'm kidding completely. That was a good job. Um, that's a tough one, honestly, because I don't know. What do you think I'd tell myself, Henry?
You should tell yourself, get it in writing.
Oh yeah. That's yeah. That's a completely different issue, isn't it? Because that has nothing to do with jewelry. That's just get it in writing. You're right. That is definitely the that's the number one thing right there. See, I knew he'd know what I should tell myself because he hears
Walk
me.
up to yourself, slap the back of your head, and say, get it in writing, and then just turn around and walk away.
No, that's definitely it.
And from then on, every decision you make, you'll want to put in writing so as not to piss your future self off.
That's true. Because I can only imagine my future self's a pretty big jerk. Yep. Without a doubt, that's the answer. Because that was never an issue, in the union. Well, it's tricky because it completely depends on what you're doing. I mean, that's it. You know, I think that most modelers that I know are making anywhere between 40 and 60 an hour. Um, Good modelers are making anywhere between, I mean, like, A plus studio people making anywhere between 60 and 200 an hour, depending on where you stand in the let's just say the pecking order. I'm not sure what studios are paying these days. I can find out. the problem with modeling and stuff is that, you know, if you're trying to do freelance modeling, is that there's so many people who are mediocre out there who are willing to work for, you know, like $30 an hour, $25 an hour, something like that. And, you know, the people who are hiring often just don't know the difference. So they're like, oh, well, look, I can get someone who'll do this at $25 an hour. It's like, okay, hire that person, see how that works for you. You know, it's just really, it's tricky. Tree pity. As far as your jewelry, you know, usually most people are doing like 3 times cost. Some of the bigger companies are doing 9 times cost. So that really is, I think the easiest way to learn how to price your jewelry is find someone in the market that you view as your market and your competition. You're like, oh, that's where I want to be. That's the store that I want, or that's the online shop that I want, or whatever. And then just match their pricing. I mean, I'm obviously, you know, if you match their skill set, obviously, but, you know, just find something that's relative that you think is sort of, you know, oh, well, that's my competition right there. Just match their pricing. And, you know, the first inclination is be a little cheaper, but depending on what you are, honestly, you probably want to be just the same or a little more expensive. Or husband. That wasn't a gender thing. So did you miss my whole thing? That's tragic. I gave you the secret to work.
It was only one second.
What's that?
It was only one for a second.
Okay. Like, see, I told you the secret of life and it clipped out. Sorry, guys. I can't say it again. I'm only allowed to tell it once every 5 years.
Hey, did you figure out the book that you used in college?
Oh, you gotta remind me. I can't remember things like that. I'm sorry.
Do you remember anything about the book?
No, it was 30 years ago, man. I mean, you know, I graduated undergraduate in 91. So how many years ago is that?
I'm not sure I can even count that high.
Those are like dinosaur years.
Uh, 31 years.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It's almost as old as I am.
Right? Yeah. Kind of amazing. Kind of amazing. I had dinner with one of my friends from school, and it was interesting because, you know, just going back and because the animation industry is a pretty small world, and just seeing you know, where your friends have gone and what they've been doing, and it's fascinating. It's cool. My friends are killing it. I just found out my friend Brian, he was one of my roommates in college. Um, his project is What If, and I was like, oh, that's super cool. That's a good one. Goodness gracious, look at this sloppy sculpting. Obviously I hadn't come back and finished this one either, have I? It's always amazing when you're just no, that's clay buildup, not clay tubes. That is not the brush I am looking for. We were laughing. CalArts used to have a Halloween party, and our Halloween party was 5 years in a row voted by Playboy to be the best college party in the country. And then by the time, I think it was my junior year, yeah, because we had 2 Mardi Gras parties. We had to stop the Halloween party because people kept raiding it and like climbing over the fences and stuff to get into the party because Playboy kept ranting what a good party it was. So we literally had to stop the Halloween party because it became such a thing. People like just randomly trying to raid the party. It was hysterical. CalArts was a great place. I really enjoyed my education and my peers. A lot of people talk about how, you know, college really isn't worth it, and I can understand that, depending on, you know, what you're trying to do. But what I told my friend's son, and what I will tell you tonight, it's the way that you're meeting the people that you will be working with in the future. And that's pretty cool, because, I mean, like I said, my friends and roommates and the people that, like, my generation of people at CalArts sort of took over the animation industry. And it's just really neat, you know. Gandhi was a year behind me. Craig McCracken was a year behind me. And that's, you know, I'm sure you all know who Gandhi is. Samurai Jack and Primal and Castle Transylvania and all that stuff. Craig McCracken's the Powerpuff Girls. Tom McGrath did Megamind. Chris, he told me, I forget what Chris is doing right now. No, it's just really neat. Where you're like, oh yeah, doing thing in the sciences, and like Henry couldn't do his job without a degree, I'd make a wager.
There is definitely someone who knows enough to do what I do, but doesn't have to. But they wouldn't have been hired.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm sure there are people who, you know, are in that world who are, you know, who, like, I don't know if library books that he had stolen from the library to see the formulas and stuff, they're just like, what? And he's just like, yeah, you know, I kind of taught myself to do this. They're like, no, dude, no one just kind of teaches themselves that. They're like, okay, you need to get out of the shanty first of all, and then you're coming to Berkeley. Like some of the maths, there are people who just know math, but like you said, doesn't. I mean, unless you're someone like that, where you have you solved a math problem that no one else on the planet has done for 150 years. You know, it was one of those things. You know, but no, nobody getting that job without a degree. And a lot of times that's just because they want to know that you're willing to commit to something long enough to do it, you know. I was trying to tell my friend's son the other day, I'm like, look, you know, college in a lot of ways isn't really, because he's like, well, they're not teaching me exactly what I want to know. I'm like, yeah, that's not what university's for really all the time. I mean, there are the hardcore, like if you're doing biology or med school or something like that, then you know that it's obviously a set of information that they're trying to get across to you. But you know, especially in the arts, often it's just a company wants to know that you were able to sort of set yourself to a task and accomplish it, because in the arts, let's face it, a lot of people can't do that. I don't want to hear a word out of you, mister. Like college didn't help you. It's funny. I notice on this, I didn't use polygroups nearly as much as I do now. You know, it's just easier to switch in and out of things with polygroups. Like on something like this, taking the time, masking these off, and you know, establishing your polygroup sets here just makes doing things like armor and stuff just so much quicker and easier. Because you really do establish your edges, so you don't, and it's like, you know, you can instantly mask with it and stuff. Control W. I think these are symmetrical, aren't they? Yeah, so here, let's hide this guy. We'll do these one at a time. Let's do this last one. Oh, don't have back face masking on that. It's working, okay. I thought we might not get, I guess, the lasso. I might be blowing it on this one though. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I just realized that was not double-sided. Like, You know, when you make an array, it gives you a really nice progression of colors when you polygroup, or it polygroups each one differently, you know. And I really like it because it does it, you know, sort of like a color scale. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. And when you do it this way, it doesn't give you a nice progression. It's very sad. And look at this. These are all Dynamash. This was really just the block out. Interesting. It explains a lot. You're so quiet. Weirds. Yeah, it just weirds me out. I hear nothing. It's just like the noise canceling on this ear obviously seems to be better. Because it just seems like really, really dead out there.
I mean, you're talking to the audience.
I know, but they're not saying anything. It's weirding me out. Everyone's so quiet. I think it's like everybody went to sleep or something. When no one makes a comment for like 15 minutes, I'm like, oh my god, people are passing out.
I believe Maxon.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Ah. They're like, wow, what a crappy block out. Couldn't you work on the ship or something that's more interesting?
I mean, you know, thank God it doesn't have toes, but it is as close to a hand as you're ever going to get.
Wow. Man, I'll tell you what. I am going to challenge you to an online handoff, and and you're going to be forced. We're gonna sculpt a hand, and we'll see how you do.
Ron, can you still hear? Can you pretend to be?
And we can put one in there too. I'll take you all on. Mouthy young whippersnappers.
Now, I never said I was better than you, Adam, but I did say you were better. That doesn't mean that I'm better.
No. It's okay. I see how it
works.
I see how it's playing out. Uh-huh. And every time you snark on one of my hands, you get 30 seconds less. Every time Wraith comments on it, I get 10 seconds more. I'm gonna have like 6 hours to make my hand. You're doomed. Doomed, I say. Hey Miko, how long have you been here? Have you been here for a while? You just lurking back there? Am I offline? Or did Miko just quit?
Still up.
Hmm. An hour or two? That's how long it took you to respond to that? Is that what it? Yeah, yes, I see. How has your week been? Snacky. Holy Hannah. Thanks, Riz. Yes, you know, that's actually is a very wise monk. I see it. Yeah. I'm just going off here. Let's actually look at our picture. Pretty straightforward. Oops. So I sculpted a Buddha for one of the temples in the Shingon, um, on the Shingon pilgrimage, and he invited me to do this thing where it's like I think it's like 140 days, and you don't say anything. You get up, you chant this mantra, and then you eat and go to bed, and then you get up, and it's like for 140 days, and it's supposed to like completely, absolutely, and utterly change your life and change your brain and change everything. And I guess the guy who founded Shingon Buddhism did that before he went to China to study Buddhism, and yeah, it's supposed to be a thing. And I was like, I can't sit on my knees for like 8 minutes, let alone. Can you imagine how crippled I would be after, like, if I could sit in a chair? That sounds, or you know, they're just like, what is wrong with that guy? Like, my knees don't work, man. We would go to in Seattle. There's this really lovely little Shinto temple. Good gosh, that was painful. Um, and we would do the New Year's thing where you go out and stand in the glacier melt river and chant for New Year's. And first of all, just in case anyone's never done that, you should do it. It really, you know, when they talk about living in the moment, there's nothing more in the moment than walking over hoarfrost or snow in a diaper and then immersing yourself in glacier melt and trying to remember the words to your chant or your mantra. And it's a thing. It is truly it's living in the moment. It's pretty crazy. I'll just say you're very aware of everything when you get out of that water. the Shinto priest was very funny. He's like, oh, you know, I know, because he always comment that I don't come out enough, and I'm like, well, you know, some of us have to work, and you know, coming out here for the morning and then going to work or so, you know, that's just not going to fly. And he was like, oh, you know, you can do this at home by just running yourself under cold water, and I'm like, you know what? I've been in a lot of showers, and I've been under a lot of cold water, and just
Oop, you're off again.
see.
Been pretty good about coming back though. Oh,
Is
there
you,
it goes.
I was gonna say, if YouTube's back and no one else is back, did you see that today?
Oh yeah. I couldn't survive without it.
Isn't that fascinating?
But
Yeah, no.
slightly more boring.
So, how do you use it daily? I mean, are you using it for information gathering? Are you using it for entertainment? Like, what is it?
Okay.
Just
Well,
entertainment?
so not, I suppose, information gathering as well. Um, when I need to, like, recently I've been trying to make a cutting board with my CNC machine where I am pocketing out a hole with my laser, the laser that I have on my CNC machine, and then I'm going to use that laser to cut veneer, like very thin sheets of wood, and then I'm going to glue that veneer into the pocket that I've lasered. And that isn't really something that people do enough that just Googling it yields very many results. So
Lasering
YouTube
veneer
seems to be a better
pockets?
place. Yeah, laser wood veneer pocket, something. But I can get a couple of hits on YouTube where on Google, it's really just advertisements.
Right.
Advertisements for veneer and cutting boards and
Sure.
blah, blah, blah. So in that way, it is information gathering. But I don't tend to watch the news
Yeah.
on YouTube if that's the kind of information you're talking about. I don't use it for music because I don't really care about music videos. If I want music, I go
What,
to a music service.
what's so funny? I feel so disassociated from music. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you know, once I realized that I can stop taking my OCD pills if I listen to books on tape. I listen to books on tape 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in a story,
Oh,
we'll call it
interesting.
a story. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it could be like I follow a lot of channels like Alex Steele,
Sure.
Bog. So you might consider those informational because
No, but
I'm
I mean, you're not necessarily paying attention to it as information. It's something that you are. I can see how you could consider that a story. You know, because
yeah,
you're not
I'm
really
entertained
gleaning
by
the.
the personality.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they're making; it's the personality that I can go watch.
Right. That makes sense.
So
Ye-
Nico wanted to know how did you block up this model in proper proportion?
Um, I just did it sort of against. You know, I had this imported, and I just blocked it up with, you know, with what's that tool called? ZModeler. Well, here, I'll show you. So, you know, it's basically just what I did with the flounder. I just took a star. This guy got really thin and sort of flat. And it's because I did it like this. And so, you know, let's get our brush a little bigger, and let's go move points in and out. Divide.
Now it's set every 3 seconds. I think it's not like what you're doing.
It didn't like that?
It doesn't like sound. For whatever reason, the YouTube stream is far more stable than Twitch.
So instead of me coming back and streaming on Twitch, I should just start live streaming on YouTube?
No, you should get your computer running.
Well, I have no say-so in that one.
You can find some say-so. Can you buy say-so on Amazon?
No, I'm waiting on the hard drive. Well, I mean, I guess we could buy a new hard drive on Amazon, but then we'd actually pay for it as opposed to getting it free.
Has Andrew or someone in support emailed you and said that there's some say-so in the way?
No, but I can probably get in touch with Andrew and demand some say-so.
Yeah, get some say-so.
I did get a email today saying that they redid it and are sending a completely new one because they're not going to wait for me to wait for the return. Now, see, this is where you really wish that they accidentally shipped it to you now, you know, like, no, I've never seen it, don't know what you're talking about, it was returned. No, because it was supposed to come today, and then when it didn't show up by mid-afternoon, I was like, I saw a UPS truck go by, and I was like, okay, let's dig, and then I noticed that it took a little digging to get the number, because I don't know, for some reason it wasn't in the email anymore, or I lost the email that had, it was just really hard to find the number this afternoon. And then when I found it and I looked it up, they use Zendesk, so it was in Shop, the app Shop, which tells you, you know, you're getting things sent. And I looked at it and it was like not in LA at all. It was like up north going someplace else, and it said returning. I'm like, I call him, I'm like, what the hell? He was like, we're sorry. Because I told him to, you know, I called him Friday and they were supposed to give the address, and because I sat here all day Friday waiting for it, and because it didn't, and it's funny because in the on the order, you know, on the ticket, I guess, it has the apartment number, so they don't know where that fell apart. But I thought it was funny that they wouldn't let me come pick it up. I'm like, can I just come pick it up? They're like, nope.
No.
It requires a signature.
It
I'm
has
like,
your name on it?
yeah. I think they already returned it and just didn't want to tell me that. I think that's the only reason they wouldn't let me come pick it up. It was weird. I don't know anymore. No. I didn't do the different segments as you mean here? I just have them blocked in different poly groups so I can hide them.
I think he's talking about when you block it up.
Yeah, right. So, like, there's the arm and the scapula and the fist, and then I did the pole, and then there's the other arm, and then the ship head, and then I did some of these little things alone because they were freestanding. You know, they fit into the part, so, you know, I built the part individually, and then when I did the body, obviously I added it in to the body, so you can see the lock was built separately, and these little, do the rib cage separately and the spine separate, because I have a skeleton that I sculpted. So for the rib cage and the vertebrae, I did that. I might have used that on. Let me look at the sculpt, and I can tell you if this is one of. Yeah, I probably used my skeleton for that. I have one that I sculpted, like the rib cage. It's a pretty highly sculpted, stylized skeleton that I have that I did. So I'm guessing that. Hold on, let's turn on transparency. Yeah, so you can see that I positioned that there so the scapula would see here. So I definitely used my sculpted skeleton, imposed the arms and legs, but the legs, like down here, because they turn into armor and stuff, I probably just blocked these up. But the rib cage and the shoulders and stuff were the skeleton that I had sculpted for something else. I sculpted it for those Thai. There's these two Buddhist dancing guys. They're like twin skeletons, and I did that on one of the betas, and excuse me. So this is that skeleton that I sculpted for those guys. Yeah. Yeah. Because instead of redeveloping a skeleton, and also using the skeleton as the base, made sure that my proportions stayed the same, so that way I knew my arm lengths and all of that were correct, and then yeah. That would be my guess anyway. Yeah, because the banner. Right. And actually, I have the block up for some of these things. Like, that was the base shape for the ship. Where's the banner? There it is. That's the block up for the banner. Obviously, this has been divided a couple times, but you can see and then that got to that. And obviously in this drawing he has it all through, but this is still basically blocked up. I haven't gone in and tuned this up. One second, let me grab some water, guys.
About midnight, 11:58.
Over. So any other questions or anything before we wrap that up some? Anyone? What's the lag? Oh, there we go. Cool. All right, so everyone on YouTube, click subscribe and like and the little bell so you're notified. It's important to us, so please do that. Everyone else, go over to YouTube and click subscribe and the bell and the little thing. And then I will be back next week. Pay attention. Summit information is probably coming soon. Watch, Ashley just had a little video thing. You all should watch that. Definitely come back and watch some of the other streamers because they're awesome sauce. Buy ZBrush if you don't have it. Check out our...
Trying.
What's that?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say we'll try to get the computer fixed, so next week's stream is less than that.
Yeah, we'll keep your fingers crossed on that one. We'll see what the mail system looks like. And let's see. Check out our education site. Is that everything?
Watch the other streamers.
They said
Have a
that
good
one.
week.
Yeah.
Tell your parents you love them if you love them. If not, don't.
Yeah.
Eat your vegetables.
Yes. That's an important one. That's an important one.
What are we doing?
What?
How did I get here?
I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I think I'm in that same position actually. Not quite sure. All right, kind and gentle folk. Have a lovely weekend, or have a lovely week, and I will see you next week. And yeah, I got nothing. And another powerful, stellar ending. I love it. I know.
Crits next week. Send them out again.
Oh yeah, crits next week. There's the little thing right there at the bottom that says the address. It's ZBrush /TSW. That's what it is. Even though for some reason I can no longer access that box. But I have no idea what that is. Have you ever even seen that screen in Dropbox? I don't know. It's weird. Okay, kind of gentle folk. Have a lovely week and see you next week, I guess. All right. Jesus. It is just